Hi, I'm going to show you how to make a switch plate with your Silly Millies. Silly Millies are slice and bake canes that you can get online at claysquared.com. They come in two sizes. There's small and then there's large. If you want to cover a switch plate, you would need either two small or one large, and that'll be enough to cover one single switch plate. So you can use a plastic switch plate or a metal switch plate. Pretty much any switch plate is totally fine. And don't worry, it won't melt in the oven. It only bakes at 275, and they're made to withstand that much heat. So your first step is to take out the screws, and then you're going to take your Silly Millies. I've chosen two Silly Millies that are somewhat contrasting but still go together. You want to have something that's going to kind of pop out. I chose a little bit simpler design and a little bit more complicated design to kind of make them contrast. And all I'm going to do is make lots of slices. These slices, I could do two at once, or I could do them separately. These slices are going to be about the thickness of a nickel, maybe a little thinner, because the thinner you make it, the more you will have to go all the way around the whole switch plate. And I usually just cut all my slices, so I've got a nice little collection of slices to play with. And then I'll start decorating. With these two designs, I'll probably do like every other, kind of a checkerboard. Sometimes I will use lots of different designs, and then you can get really creative and make it really random. So I'll cut up that much, and then I save this just so that I know if I need to slice really thin, if I'm getting short on it, or if I can slice a little thicker. And now I'll slice my little star. This star actually glows in the dark. So for a switch plate, I think that's really cool, because as soon as you turn off the lights, you'll have little sparkly stars. I really like to use glow in the dark on the switch plate. It's pretty fun that way. And you can find these all online at claysquared.com. And the other one I was using, the kitty one, is called Tilly the Kitty. I like to name all my different ones. Okay, so I'm going to stop, so I've got that little piece. Now I'm going to cover my switch plate. So I just start in one corner and just gently press them on. And I'll just keep going every other one. And I'm not going to worry too much about filling in every little piece, because as you can see, you've got circles going together, so there's always going to be a little bit of space in between. But those will generally squish together once you roll it all out. So I'm going to just sort of show you basically how I'm going to add all those on there. And you would keep going all the way. You could cover right over that little screw hole there. And when you get to the center, a lot of times I just kind of go right over that. Whoops, I want to do it to every other one. So I'm going like that. And then I'll cut that out eventually. So you can see how I'll just keep layering them on there. Now, I would just cover the whole thing, but I'm going to skip ahead to one that I've already got mostly covered. This one I did kind of randomly. And you can see there's little spaces still where the switch plate's showing, but I'm not going to worry too much about those. I'm going to just kind of roll over it. You can use a rolling pin like this, or you can use even like a marker. Anything cylindrical works. I kind of like the Crayola markers. They work really nice. So you just roll over it like this, and keep rolling and letting it squish together. You can see I already lost that little spot that was there. Sometimes it helps, especially this is an outlet cover, so the middle kind of dips down, so I'd like to put my hand under there and kind of give it a little squish, or give it a little pressure, a little support. So I just keep going, rolling and rolling, squishing and squishing. The top part's probably the easiest part to get squished together. Sometimes the edges a little more challenging. You want to do a little kind of roll like that, kind of go over the edge a little bit, and just slight rolls until it goes all the way over. Now, if you end up with a spot that doesn't quite want to pinch over, you can add a little bit more, but usually it works pretty well. And you've got it. So you'll keep doing that till the whole thing is completely rolled down. And then you'll do the trimming. I'm just going to do one corner for you so you can see the faster version. So I've got this part sort of hanging over the edge on the back, and I sometimes will pinch with my fingers to get it to go all the way around. Then you can either use your cutting tool to cut it off, which is probably the best thing, or if you want to use an X-Acto knife, you can use that too. X-Acto knives are always a little sharper, so try not to use those as much as possible, or use them very carefully. But you will probably need them when you're cutting out either the center or the middle for your outlets. You can see how this little tool is very important. I usually go from the front using the X-Acto knife and just kind of go right around the edge. Watch those fingers, because this thing is very sharp. And trim it right up. Get rid of those little extras. And then don't forget to get the holes. I usually use a toothpick for that. And the best way to do it is to turn it over, poke it through just barely, and then poke it again. And then you can make it bigger by rolling it around like that. Now, as I'm doing this, you can see it's sort of pulling up a little bit, but that's okay. I'll just kind of press it back down, and it'll be fine. And then when I get all trimmed up and everything exactly the way I want it, then I'll bake it in the oven at 275 for 30 minutes and let it cool. And you'll have a super fabulous switch plate to hang on your wall.